Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. You join us once more in the map editor in the cartographer where we are creating this island, what we have called Jurassic Park. It is loosely based on the island in the first film. We have these hills, we have these trees, we have hidden little pathways, we have abandoned houses. What we don't have are dinosaurs, but we do have a raised walkway. We do have a forest. And last time, if you're watching these as they go out, the last video covered... Well, we gave it a little test. We gave it a little test in the actual game itself and found that there were a few bugs, but a lot of this was actually quite pleasing. Things like the hills, once you're in the game, they're covered in scrub and grass and everything, and it looks okay. And the forest, the woods, they look okay as well. So this here, we could probably get away with not putting too much more here, because the more things we put down on the ground, the harder it is for people to build. It does mean that people on low power machines are going to see, well, just a basic grass texture. And the level of detail, if you're playing on a laptop, is going to be kind of tricksy. But if you have the horsepower to manage it, then it's a kind of a beautiful island. It's a beautiful map. So we identified some problems. Let's just go through some other problems. I'm just going to go through the controls. So anyone who's coming in cold, this is the map editor. We have a toolbox on the right hand side. We've got the terrain with all the brushes. We've got the object toolbox. We control our movement within the map editor by holding down right mouse button to look around. We press W, S, A and D because those are the first person controls which allow us with the right mouse button just to move around in the game. But we can also press Q to go down, E to go up. We have C to clone an object if we have an object selected. We have R to rotate. We have T to transform. And if I sound a little bit weird, it's because I'm using a different microphone. I'm running a little experiment. So this is the Bay Dynamics DT297. I usually use a Samson CO1U condenser microphone. The DT297 is also a condenser microphone going through a Behringer Euphoria preamp. So the reason for that is I kind of got in and I was literally about to hit record and next door neighbor's kids went freaking mental. The dog went mental and I was just like, there is so much noise. I'm hoping a directional microphone is going to cut all of that out so you don't hear the craziness that's going on outside. It might mean I'm a little bit more breathy. It might mean that the audio is not as good as normal, but I don't know. So this tree, I'm kind of just idly clicking around while trying to explain the microphone. This tree was one of the issues. It was too close to the ficus, and you couldn't get the fruit of it. I think by moving it to about here, we should be able to get the fruit off of it. This is probably a good time to explain another feature of the map editor. So we've moved that. If I take the camera and I just press W, we're going fairly slow, fairly slow. We've basically stopped and bam, now we're at the edge of the map. There is no linear speed controls in this game. So if you go and you're sort of driving along, and you're having a look at your map and then, oh, we got a little bit too close to something. Suddenly the camera's very, very slow. And then, boom. Yeah. You can hold shift to go faster. Interestingly, spacebar doesn't do anything, but you can hold shift to go faster. I wouldn't recommend it. So we're just going to click terrain and objects to unselect the koala bush, because we don't need that selected. There were a few other issues. One of them was over here, the base of this. Yeah, there it is. It's poking through. I didn't like that. Oh, that camera though. Seriously, Ben, Sam. I think Ben is programmer boy. Sam's idea boy. There's only two people who work at Beam Team. So they're good lads as far as I can tell. But yeah, whenever anyone says, "Ooh, the devs should," just remember there are only two of them. So I think that's going to fix that there. It's a little bit scrappy in the way that I do not want to move things. There is no undo in this. Okay, it's jumped onto something else. It does that a lot. There we go. That's a little bit better. Just rotate it so some of those leaves aren't poking out of the rocks. We're not going to be able to completely avoid it, but yeah, that's better. There's a big gap there. Is that a big gap? No, that's okay. It looked optical illusion. It looked like a big gap that a player could fall down. If you see any gaps in the rocks that a player can get stuck in, what you should do is get rid of them. Put a small rock in there or something. There were some other ones, other issues. Let's just drive that. Nope. And we can slalom through the trees and end up in the sea. Okay. Yes. Here was an issue. Yeah, we don't see the issue. Cause I'm pretty sure this had bush all over these steps. Okay, let's click terrain and objects. I don't see it there. Let's have a look over here because there was another bush in the way of getting up here. Yeah, okay. So the bush model might have some issue with it. Let's drop that down a bit more. The only thing we can do really is rotate the bushes and then save, go back to the game, have a little look. Because I wanted a definite gap here, but in the game, the model that it uses is the high definition model, which has a different LOD, a different level of detail. So it appears bigger in the game itself. This is the low LOD version, I'm guessing. So yeah, we just have to tweak and play with it. I'm going to click terrain and objects. So the reason I click terrain and objects is because if you have something selected and then you go and drag something out of the toolbox, sometimes, and it's a Windows thing as far as I know, this object might still be selected. So you still might have something toggled. So you grab something out of the toolbox and suddenly this is spinning around or it's flying off to one side. So a way to deselect it without clicking on anything else in the environment is just to go terrain objects, Dunzo Calrissian. So we're done with that. That was an issue. This is an issue here, but I don't quite know how to fix it. Other than drop it further down, press T, and then just drop it further into the earth. Well, hopefully that'll sort that out. So I'll have to come back because I want this kind of exposed. I want the any footways, any deliberate steps to be exposed. That's something that we should do. It might just be a case of going back in and just experimenting with things, just playing around, because that's what the map editor is. Definitely play around, see what works, see what doesn't work, importantly, and then if it doesn't work, change it. That was that. There was something else that's kind of bugging me that wasn't quite working. We definitely didn't have enough PP on this island. This island is kind of lacking in PP. And the reason for that is we haven't put in a lot of the resources. We tend to put that in last, so we remember what resources we put in. So there were some issues. This hill. So this hill is a great hill. It's actually fairly climbable. We worked out that we can walk up this ridge. We can also walk up and down fairly easily up this ridge. So that's okay. We also worked out that we couldn't walk up this side. So there is within the game a limited amount of steepness that you can walk up. And if the game is not rendering ground foliage like grasses and things, like on this hill it doesn't either, this part of the hill, then you cannot walk up it. So it's good. It's very, very Skyrim, very Morrowind, very Oblivion. Delete is applicable. Delete as you see fit. But this area here kind of felt a little bit empty, I guess. So we're going to put a tree in here. Let's do it. Do it. Who is the Senate? Are we the Senate? I don't know. I don't think we can do a 720 spin from sitting. And then just get a couple of Jedi. I'm entirely sure that's very difficult for most people. I don't want to put Kura. I want a Farkas. I want the big Farkas. Ooh, hello, you're big. You're big man. So we're gonna hit R to rotate. We press T. Oh yeah, because it came up in the comments section. I do read the comments section. I read every single comment. And occasionally looking. YouTube is weird. Sometimes it just puts stuff in the spam folder as well, and I don't know why it does that. It's like, hi, we're going to put this in the spam folder. So I do have to go in there occasionally, not as often as normal, not as often as anything else, but most comments I will look at and attempt to reply to, because it's only polite It's the British thing to do. What's that better? I don't want these branches interfering with the player. We can test this with Mr. Door. But yeah, question was, what version are you on? And I looked and it is very much 0.51. Where is Mr. Door structures? Terrain object structures. So, yeah, Mr. Door can get through, a player can get through because the player is the same size or smaller than the door. It's not hitting his head on the branch. Nope, he is not. Good. Excellent. The branches aren't going into the ground too badly. Nope. And if a player should stumble down the hill, they're not going to get stuck. No, but they might break their legs. Oh yeah, that's the water layer. I've said it before, but if anyone's just sort of jumping into this... I mean, there's nearly 300 episodes. If someone's just jumping in, under maps, under your map, is a water layer. If you ever wonder why the sharks can swim under the island occasionally, well, hello. That's a terrifying thing. So yeah, here's the water layer. Is it unique to Stranded Deep? No, a lot of games will have the water layer just continue under the land, under the islands, under whatever map you happen to be on, which is why the water is always at a specific level. Good, hey? Well, you know, your mileage may vary. Okay, we're going to do something with this tree because it looks a little bit weird. It looks like it's just kind of poking out the hillside, so I'm going to go back to rocks. Yeah, 0.51 is the version I'm playing. There hasn't been a main update in a long time. And the reason for that is that, and I have explained this one before, but I'm going to do it again, is that... I just want to say a tiny picture of the Queen. No, is that Beam Team were about to publish Stranded Deep on the PlayStation 4, and then we're going to go through Telltale Games. That was last September. That was September 2018. It didn't quite happen. And you know this because you're not playing on a PlayStation 4 at the moment. Yeah, so the game should come out on PlayStation 4. Will come out on PlayStation 4 eventually. But it never released on the PS4, and the main updates, although Ben and Sam have been working on these things because that's what those boys do. I mean, this game is their baby as much as the players love playing it. These boys obviously love making this game. But because they were going to be publishing through Telltale, because Telltale went freaking burst, and I think it was a surprise to people working at Telltale as much as it was to anyone else. All the stuff that they were working on can't be released until, I'm going to guess, administration of Telltale has been sorted out. And there's some legally wiggly things that need to be fixed. And we all hate legally wiggly stuff because it sucks. I'm just going to put this in here in such a way that we can get a... I don't want these leaves clipping through anything. This is a small... Let's get this in a position where we can... There we go. And click on that, press T. I wonder if we can... No, we can't use the cursor keys to nudge. That's a shame. But we can just drag it in a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on things because occasionally if you click on something, do a little move and then let go, it'll snap to a different object. We are just going to make sure this plant is actually in the ground. It is in the ground. I mean, not that anyone's going to be checking this particular plant, but while you're putting them in, you may as well make sure they're in the ground. And that's probably enough of that. We know from experience that leaves you can walk through, but the body you can't, and the rock is there, so hopefully no one's going to get stuck at this point. It does actually look kind of cool with a little chute thing there, made of rocks. So people might just jump down there, people might actually run up and jump across, but it's now created a little bit more shade. So as you are running through the forest, you have tree, which now breaks up this entire hillside. But wait! You're looking down there, and it looks a bit more, woody. I mean, it's going to change because the player doesn't just sit and stand in one point, at one spot. They are going to be looking around an awful lot. but it also means that we don't have to do too much. I want to do stuff to the hill, but I don't want to do too much to it, because basically any place where you put a rock, even if you put a lot of it underground, is going to interfere with things like the foundations for buildings. I don't want people to be trying to glitch buildings. I mean, this is okay. You can put a house here. You can put a house here. You could put a house, split level house maybe. If you're careful about it, you can put a foundation at the bottom, stairs up, and then maybe an upper level. You could have an upper level and then build out, and you could have a freaking, I don't know. I suppose out here you could have a landing pad or something, so you don't get snarled up in the trees, because the gyrocopter is cray-cray. It is much cray-cray, very crazy. We know from experience that the gyrocopter inherits the last time it touched the ground as its horizontal attitude. So if you just slam it into the earth like you're trying to wipe out the dinosaurs and then take off, you will find that the gyrocopter then inherits whatever it last touched, as far as the ground is concerned, and it will go off sideways. And we've got stuck sideways before. I had to bail from the gyrocopter because it's been taking us out over shark-filled water, and we would just lose it if we didn't jettison ourselves. Question. So what tree do we want here? Well, we're showing the ficus because these boys are big. It would be nice to have something here. Let's do it. Do it. So we're just pressing R and T. T to transform, R to rotate. Very, very easy. Easy peasy. I'm doing this. And I've backed up the save game files by literally taking the entire Stranded Deep folder from my documents and making a copy of it and putting it in a folder called Game Backups, because when you're doing a video series, you kind of want to back up, but it's also worth doing it if you are making maps, because all your maps will be in there. And if something happens to Stranded Deep, if your computer decides that actually what it wants to be is a very pretty but expensive fire, or if a virus takes out all of your stuff, or if just the game explodes, you kind of want all your stuff there. Yeah, you kind of want to back up, because it can be heartbreaking otherwise. But also, my train of thought just slammed into the buffers, and everything that I was about to say has just vanished as we move this tree around. I'm clicking on objects on the other side of the island. I don't know what any of these are. There is no Control Z, there is no undo, so we've got to change the camera angle in order to be able to click on this tree, because there was so much stuff. There we go. You can't click on it, change the camera angle, get close to the bottom, get close to that base. Oh, that sundo. Yeah, so I know what I was talking about. If the audio sounds like complete ass, I might have to record this again. I don't want to, because it's a lot of effort. Yeah, I'm just hoping this microphone is good enough. Goonies are good enough. Good. Can we do something interesting here? I don't... no. It's just going to get in the way, innit? Isn't it though? Isn't it? We'll use the little rocks. I don't want to discourage people from trying to scale the escarpment. Actually, it's not an escarpment, it's a hill. An escarpment is a drop between two levels, say an upper level or lower level of just a countryside. Whereas a hill is, well, it's a hill. It goes up and down. Very much more defined. Okay, so what do we got here? We got some rocks, rockety rocks. Throw them out. I don't know if we... I mean, the big rocks are okay. There we go. Got to be a little bit careful about how you do this, because this will have scrubby grass and stuff on it, so we need it out enough to make it be different enough. But yeah, to bring it up above the scrub, but in enough to hide the fact that there's a bloody great big piece of geometry there. Okay, good. So we've done that. It's created a massive shadow, but it's made that side of the hill a little less boring. The other thing we're going to do before we throw any smaller plants in is go back to trees. Click on terrain, click on objects. Because we don't want to beans it up for ourselves. We can add 3 more pines. We're not going to because we know we already hit the pine limit and the little pine glitch to just click off and click back on again to squeeze 1 more pine in is it's cheeky, but we're going to put some palms in. I normally put palms next to the coast, but I know palms. I know palms grow in inland and all. I do know this. I know this. I have seen. Well, we're working on a job at work, and there's a lot of palm trees involved in that. I'm like, oh, hello, palm trees. I know you. Huge, thick lines of palm trees, actually, like they're being used as a windbreak. And I'm like, it's interesting. Sometimes you get really interesting jobs at work. Oh yeah, if you didn't know, this is not my day job, as you can tell by the number of views and subscribers, and what's the other thing? People who click the bell. Oh yeah, subscribe and click the bell. Freak, just do it. Don't even think about it. Just allow your hands to do the thing themselves. But yeah, so my day job is photo editor, and not really surprising. I mean, looking around the island, not kind of surprising. I do a lot of Photoshop work. It can be rewarding. It can be very rewarding. It can be interesting. But yeah, we're working on some jobs from other parts of the world, and there's a lot of palm trees involved in that one. This boy here, its LOD is bugged. So if I push him far enough away, the top will come back on. Boop. Here. Yeah. So don't worry about this boy here. His LOD is just freaked out. You need to get close enough or push him far enough away for it to actually display. I'm going to put you there, and then we're just going to have a stick. It's like a little sticky ball. I don't mind this so much, but we're going to create, because this beach is kind of like some at nothing really. Don't really like it. I don't like it being this bare. The water is beautiful. And we know from experience that bloop, the game will put lots of coral, lots of fish, and lots of excitement in the sea. So we just need to worry about the beach. Oh, I really wish the clouds would not be in front of the sun. Oh. Yeah, some of the environmentals should be able to be switched off in the editor. I'm just going to check that, in fact. Terrain, cog, display ocean, boop. Well, we can turn the ocean off, but we get caustic still on, so that's weird. Frequency, we do not need to, do not click any of these things. Do not click any of this. And once you've got your map going, you can click on display ocean, and you can change the time of day. But definitely do not hit generate island, because yeah. Only bad things happen there once you're this far into making an island. I mean, you can, but it's not gonna be fun. Not gonna be a fun time. Okay, so we're gonna put some trees on the beach, and we'll just put them close to the water line. Water, that should be fine because we have got these trees over here and the headland. So I'm just gonna put literally 2 here. Hit R to rotate, and a couple of rocks, and that should be Dunzo Calrissian. Because, so we'll put a couple of rocks, baby rocks. 1 baby rock. 2 baby rocks. I'm not doing the song, and I'm not doing the count, so you guys can no baby rock, baby shark. Baby rocks. So we're just going to do that, and we're just going to bring this one out over here a little bit and give it a little rotate. T and R are actually a really good way of doing that. It means that from the sea, as you're driving towards land, a lot of this stuff is going to be broken up. So we don't want the hill to just be like big layer of brown. What we want is stuff breaking up that hill, but we're going to be very careful that we don't put too much stuff on the top. So I'm gonna leave the top fairly clear, I think. But the trees right on the shoreline, on the coast, help from navigation from a distance, because you can see where the beach is, and you can use it. I'm just going to terrain objects. You can use these trees. See from the shore. If I'm, ooh, nice. If I'm sort of sailing up on a boat and there's sharks and everything, and I'm panicking, I'm like, I need to get to the coast. I need to get to the coast. I can see that there is the outcrop of land. It's not like, is that sand? No, that's where the land is. And the same over here. So we have, ignore the LOD and that boat that's going mental in the sky. So as you're driving towards the river delta, you got these trees here. That's a deliberate placement, just to mark the entrance to this sort of the delta, because otherwise that'd be very hard to spot, and you might just literally drive a boat onto it. So cool, we've got those little key things. Kind of same here, and also boxing in left and right. So as you're running along the beach, your camera has something to the left and the right, so your vision is boxed in. Otherwise, if you go a little bit further on, stuff on the right, stuff to the left, it kind of feels cold and empty. Now, I don't mind that so much on the headland, where you're sort of walking around and there's a little bit of like, not danger vibes, but it's like, what is out there? There's nothing there. Do I go through this little tunnel? Well, the answer is yeah. And then this bit is going to feel cold and empty. You might see a few sharks and stuff swimming around, but boom, and then the island kind of, I guess, hugs you. Just having the stuff on the beach right next to the shoreline, it just kind of feels better. It is a psychological. Captain. Good. You couldn't see that. That's great audio work. Just sort of shaking your head a little bit. Brilliant. So we're just going to drop this bad boy onto the beach. Same reason. What does it do? It kind of just, as you're running along, it just kind of adds something, breaks things up. What's behind it? Dunno. And suddenly we've created this little area in here, this little lay-by, as it were, just by the inclusion of a single rock. Don't need to go too crazy, just throwing it in there. So that's nice. That's actually really nice. And we're going to go to trees, and we're going to go to, where's my bush? Where is my bush? My bush. Okay. So we're just going to make sure we don't drag anything out untoward. And we're just going to throw one of these bad boys down. So R to rotate. T to move back. Oh, that's not the right toggle. Has to go yellow, then you can move it. There we go. There we go. Can somebody get stuck behind it? That is an excellent question. Glad you asked. Probably not. I don't think so. I think that's a good position. We're going to have to check it. Check it out. But I'm sure that'll be fine. I wonder if we press C, and we clone it, and we grab the blue, and we press R to rotate, and press T, and R, and T. Okay, you can see where this is going, and then we just drop it right down into the ground. Yeah, yes, good. Move that back over a little bit. Because I think what's going to happen is this bit here, which is quite low, is going to actually pop up a little bit more. So that's fine. T. There we go. We could probably throw some other low-level plants in. Terrain objects, thank you. We can throw. Well, where's my nana plant? We're gonna need a nana in there. I like the nana plant. The nana plant's a bit of a pain in the butt because you can't really walk over it. The core of the plant is a little bit too not walk overable, but it's a thing. It does what it needs to do. Can we throw some other plants in here just for decoration? Yeah, we can. I really want the next main update to come out. I really want the next main update to come out so that we can actually see if these plants have changed or not. And I could look on the thing, you know, the experimental branch, but experimental, ooh, not good when you make. I mean, I suppose if your video series is based off experimental, then you know, go for it. But we've had bad experiences in the past, which are in the video archives, which are probably sub hundreds, I think. I don't know. Go dig those out. Was that? Oh, that was such a long time ago. That was. Man, when did I start this? 2016? 17, 18, 19? Don't tell me I've been doing Stranded Deep for like 3 years. What? No. No, I wait a second. I know this one. I know this one. I started Stranded Deep. Oh, we may as well put something interesting here. People have something to pick up. I tell you what, let's throw an aloe here. Because people might not come to this part of the island to explore. There we go. And maybe some PP. Yeah, so one of the things I did before starting Stranded Deep was I changed the thumbnail to the orange and blue thumbnail from what it had been. Because what it had been was literally just a stopgap that became the main thumbnail. I was just like, oh, I'm just going to use it forever. So that's actually quite nice. A little garden-y area. It's going to have grass and stuff in the middle of it. I don't think I want to do too much. We could put some resources like sticks and things in there maybe. Oh, I know what we can throw in there. Oh, because we haven't used them at all. And that's young pines. Pine spore. Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't see why not. Do a little spinny boy. There we go. I put a slightly bigger one in, maybe? I'm going to put the small ones on the actual hillside, you know. I think we could probably do that and get away with it. I'll tell you what, I'll leave that for the time being. Or will I? No, let's get rid of that one. I want to get rid of that one. I don't want it to be too garden centre. We'll leave that for the time being. So that's a little bit better than it was. It's not naked hillside and it's not just completely boring. So we can leave that for the time being and go probably back to the woods, because that is something we do need to put in. Yeah, so oh good heavens. So yeah, what was I doing? I changed the thumbnail. I went with the blue and orange. And that was like I sat down in Photoshop and I was just like, right, this interim thumbnail is not going to work. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Let's actually get something proper. So blue and orange came in. Blue and orange was an accident, just a complete accident. I needed something for the background, so I took a photograph that I'd done many years ago, which is actually a photograph of the Hale Estuary of all places in Cornwall. I went out to the peninsula where the Hale River empties. It's basically the Hale River Delta, and I took 4 photographs and stitched them together to make like a square pan, a square, I guess, bigger image of the river delta there. I mean, it literally just empties out onto the beach, and yeah, I used that. So that is the sky. It's not like stock image. That's a photograph I took, probably on a Pentax KX. I'm trying to remember what camera I had at the time. Yeah, probably KX. So yeah, that's a little fun fact. It has some light, sort of light spots on it, just to make it a little bit more interesting. It has some color grading done to it. It's a lot more blue than it used to be. It's got a bunch of stuff's been done to it to make it sort of a bit more useful as part of the thumbnail. So yeah, that was fun. That was a thing. It was a thing I needed to do for the site. So yeah, but I did that in 2016. I know that because I kept I named the file that. So the file for the thumbnail, if you really want to know, is I think it's just like thumbnail-2016 because I kind of date everything. So I did that before first recording Stranded Deep. Oh, so that means first Stranded Deep must have come out in 2016. I don't want to think about it. 17, 18, 19, yeah, probably about 3 years in April. Oh, this month. Maybe March, April, something like that. Ooh. What have I been doing with my life? Well, it's kind of a rhetorical question. I've been doing Stranded Deep videos, and how many hours worth of video is that? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I think it's about 6.5 days worth of video if you're trying to watch it back to back. So we've added some baby pines into the forest, just to get a sort of a better ground coverage, but also resources, some sticky boy resources. We're going to get to a point where we're throwing resources in. Does that look realistic? Yeah, it's about as realistic as it's gonna get. In a world where you just place things. I don't want it to be too garden center. I don't want it to look. I think there's a garden center that's used a lot in Star Trek. I think it's DS9 and maybe even Voyager. This is like, oh, here's a waterfall and a little river and everything, and we're on the holodeck. Well, actually, you boys are in a garden center near Los Angeles, so... Well, I suppose if you've been there, you'll know about it. I always find that fun, looking up stuff. That you see things in film, you see locations in film, and it's like, wow, this looks terrifying, futuristic representation of wherever it is, and you realise that actually that street that was, you thought was filmed in Manhattan or somewhere is actually in Newcastle or Melbourne. I think The Matrix was filmed in Australia. Like all the city scenes are, I think are they Melbourne? Melbourne? Melbourne. You have to eat part of the word. You can't say that. You can't enunciate the entire thing because the Australians get upset. Although having said that, it's hilarious listening to a person from North America try and pronounce some of the places over here, like Gloucester, Gloucester, or Gloucestershire. It's always Gloucester, and I'm like, you guys, come on, you guys. But yeah, no, it's always fun, because if you haven't heard it, it's like I think, is it Arkansas? It looks like Arkansas or something. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Maybe. There's Appalachians as well. Is it Appalachia or Appalachia? I think it's Appalachia, the Appalachians. And there's a lot of like Native American names used for things, and it's like, well, that's like Scandinavia. I am, you see the letters written down, but those letters are not Latinized. It's like, well, yeah, you're gonna have to get someone who knows how to pronounce this to explain it to you, at least once. Once you got it, it should be fine. A lot of national parks with very cool but very difficult to enunciate names. So what I'm doing is using these trees, which are ultimately destructible, to create some interest in the mountain. We could probably throw another big ficus or something in here, but it's adding stuff. So as you're running around at eye level, not only do you have the scrub and things, but you also have these little trees. Now, yeah, you can obviously take a hatchet to them, turn them into sticks, 2 sticks, 1 stick, 3 sticks, 4. But it does mean that there's more resources, but it just gives you nice ground coverage. Just like light ground coverage that's not too taxing. So that's kind of cool. And of course, all this will have grass and things. You have the birds and the rain and the wind and everything. So that's nice. Absolutely brilliant. So what we've done is we've added a lot more ground coverage. We've added a tree to shade this edge because it was just kind of empty before. A little bit too empty. We have added... This whole area has been redressed, so it's not just bare side of mountain. And it does mean that even though we've done these things, if you stand on top of the hill, you still got a great freaking view. If the camera wasn't so crazy, wasn't so cray-cray. So it's not a problem. And if you want to build a tower or something, and you go, whoop, you've even got the option to build a tower and look over everything. Absolutely, probably even higher than a gyrocopter can fly. So, we've done a lot. And yet there's still more things to do. We haven't even touched the other hill. And we haven't touched this headland, which is still kind of bugging me. I don't know whether we should just leave it as a curiosity, or whether we should put something there. I think we should probably put something there. Good, the neighbour is calling his dog, but instead of using words, he's using whistle. Maybe it's a wolf. Maybe it will eat more. Who knows? You know what? I'm going to leave it there though, because it's been good. It's been a good session. So, if you're watching this and you're liking this, definitely leave a little like, leave a subscribe, and if you do subscribe, click the little bell, because you know what? That will give you notifications when videos go live. But there is also a Twitter, and there is also a Facebook page if YouTube is being its usual useless self. But you know what? I'll catch you next time.